Well, this is unexpected. It's certainly not the video I thought I would be making if you had asked me right after the last video I posted. Back in March, I was looking at things to invest in with my upcoming tax return, and I got lucky. Now, luck is a fickle commodity built on happenstance and at least a small dose of persistence. Translation, I sat at home for 2 weeks without work, doom scrolling eBay between episodes of a TV show I operate on, when a 7-ish-year-old and slightly irrelevant golden egg dropped into my lap, cracking open and metaphorically ruining my wallet with its runny, yellow, camera-shaped yolk. Is it good, dumb?
Yeah.
Okay. So I know it's a very clickbait title. We worked very hard to come up with it.
Most inexpensive red camera.
Least likely to incur financial debt red camera.
Like dummy, cheap-ass red camera.
Like dummy, cheap-ass red camera.
Like dummy, cheap-ass red camera.
But as far as I have been able to find, it's true. This is the cheapest red weapon carbon fiber Dragon 6K DSMC2 that anyone has purchased, at least online, at least in the year 2024. A lot of asterisks. With the lowest hours at that price, making this camera, as of when I purchased it, basically brand new in the grand scheme of used cameras. And I also got it from a e-waste company. So it's also the cheapest Red Weapon Dragon carbon fiber 6K camera body that was trash. So for simplicity's sake, I'm not gonna go through the entire history of Red cameras. All that you need to know is that this camera was announced at NAB 2015, and it was the next generation of cameras following Red's DSMC1 camera bodies, which included the Red Epic camera and the later Red Epic Dragon, which keyword there, Dragon. Same sensor in this camera, the 6K Dragon sensor, slightly larger than Super 35. So this camera was the first of the DSMC2 generation of cameras, just before they even started calling them DSMC2 cameras. It was the weapon camera, because of course that's what they called it. With this new generation of cameras in the year 2015, the camera became a bit more modular, a bit more compact, but for all intents and purposes, the sensor in the camera was the same as the Epic Dragon and Scarlet Dragon cameras. Once they moved to this camera, they were able to squeeze through some electrical magic a little bit more dynamic range and a little bit more like a slightly lower noise floor out of the sensor. This specific camera was the very first version of the DSMC2 bodies, the carbon fiber version, later followed by the magnesium bodies that I feel like you see more often on set. And so my favorite thing about the camera's history is the first I believe, well-known project that this generation of Red Dragon cameras was used on was Mindhunter. So why did I buy a 9-year-old camera in 2024? Well, I was looking in the market for something to invest in, something to spend some money on. I was looking for another camera body just to have 2 cameras, not necessarily 2 of the same camera, but something that would allow me to diversify the kind of projects I do with the equipment I personally own outside of renting. I was also looking for something fun, something different that would, challenge me creatively a bit. So I've been looking at a couple different things, different options. I use C500 Mark II or C300 Mark III, an older Sony f55, a couple different things in the, let's say, $3,000 to $7,000 range. But at the end of the day, this just kind of fell into my lap, and it just, it made me feel warm and fuzzy inside when I brought it home and sat it on the table and just looked at it and was like, what did I do? How did I end up with this? As the intro suggested, I'd been looking around for a while, just, going nonstop, nothing to do, refreshing eBay every day, and suddenly this camera listing popped up where the photos of it weren't very good. It didn't show every side of the camera. And it said it was on sale, down from a price of $6,000 to, I believe, $2,800, $2,900. And I was like, oh, that seems kind of interesting, because that's the lower end of the amount of money that I was going to want to spend. And so I started digging. I looked into the account that had posted the camera for sale, and it was a company that seems to only sell old used server parts, computers, fax machines, just the normal detritus of when large corporations sell off and, dispose of used electronics. I don't know, it just seemed weird. But just the right amount of weird. And so I made an offer. I just lowballed them. I said, okay, $2,000. Thinking that either they'd ignore it or they wouldn't pay too close attention when they accepted the offer. And that was on a Friday night. And so I had to wait the weekend to see what would happen. And as you can tell, I wake up Monday morning with a notification that the offer was accepted. And so this is what I picked up on that Monday. It was the camera body with the Sidekick control panel, a case, the LEMO monitor or viewfinder cable adapter, the side expansion module for SDI and HDMI and some other connections, and the PL mount that is the preferred PL mount of Shane Hurlbut,
because it has these nice flanges here.
at least as of a number of years ago.
Get your nail on.
The aluminum cool black PL mount, which is exactly the lens mount I would have wanted for the camera, and the weird Red Volt XL battery plate that, aside from some YouTubers that first bought the cameras when they originally came out, I've never seen in person, so that was interesting. It's very over-engineered. Oh, and the original sticker that came with the camera. No one bothered to put it on a case or on their truck or in the trash. And so the craziest discovery when I first picked up the camera was the hours. Turned it on, everything seemed normal. I immediately went to the hours meter and saw that, to my complete shock, it only had 37 hours on it, which in the grand scheme of used cameras is practically brand new. I don't know, it's been so fun just to ponder the life of this camera, being bought, left bone stock with exactly the accessories it came with. Yeah, it's such a strange thing to contemplate.
It's a red camera.
Yeah, but that's not the point. The point is that it was $2,000, not the fact that it was a red. It is a red, but the point is it was so dirt cheap.
And so over the past couple weeks since I bought the camera, I fitted it out with a Zacuto, the older version of their VCT base plate that I've had for years. Matte box follow focus, fancy wooden camera top handle, because it was about the only thing I could find that's relatively modern to use with the camera. A very cheap top plate, I bought the older Red Bomb EVF because it was relatively inexpensive. A couple of cables for that. I cobbled together a viewfinder bracket out of some spare parts I had. And then I bought the wooden camera D-Box power distribution module and gold mount plate to power the camera. The viewfinder, gold mount plate, and the little bit of media I have for it so far, which is one red mini mag I bought from mpb.com because they had good prices, and everything else was either things I had or things I found on eBay so far. And I feel like it's a good setup. It's built the way I feel a camera should be, at least without fancier parts, because it is getting harder to find accessories for the DSMC2 bodies. It's only been maybe 2 years, 3 years since they officially stopped selling this camera body. The nice thing is it is still supported by Red, but as far as accessory manufacturers, it's kind of dried up. It's just what you find on the used market or things that are kind of universal and can work with multiple different types of cameras. But as far as trying to spend as little money as possible, I feel like I've done okay so far. And so now with the camera built and ready to go, you got to test it. The whole point of buying a camera is to use it. And so I figure the best way to test any camera is a good old-fashioned short film with no budget and forcing a bunch of my friends to suffer through a day of adventure with me.
Good morning, everyone. We're going on an adventure. Tis where is the adventure? We are. I don't even know. I didn't know the location until yesterday. And I was like, oh shit. What are we doing out here today?
We're here testing this red, what the hell is it? A Red Weapon Dragon carbon fiber from 2017 that was brand new somehow when I bought it in the year 2024. We're making something.
That was beautifully said. Honestly, that was beautiful. What more do you need from that?
And so doing a short film, the concept of testing the camera, pushing the limits, because I had not personally shot on the Dragon sensor at any point. And so I wanted to come up with an idea that would push it in regards to the highlights, you know, a bright, sunny, harsh exterior, and also push it in low light, you know, the lowest, least amount of light possible, you know, rough conditions, just the works. And so I feel the idea I came up with ticked all those boxes. Oh, did we pick up that mic that I set on the ground the other day? Okay.
Oh,
Locked and loaded,
Look at
baby.
that.
Locked and loaded. Mr. President? Are you safe?
Camera speeds. And action. Cut! Switching. And then we're going to live on the 35 for the rest of the time we're out here for sure. Okay. Camera speeds. Whenever you're ready, action. So, can you step into that, Mark? Rolling. It'll be this. Okay. Oh, I love how it takes a while for them to disappear. 10 out of 10. Cut.
Yeah, this was an idea.
Yeah, I'm really underexposing this because I like the kind of, what's the term? You know, like silhouette look, but I just want a little bit of detail.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, just so take it away. Oh yeah, it's too intense.
I cranked this up just to walk around and...
Okay, can you hold them together so it like feels like one source of light? And you're gonna start, like, just follow my camera. You're gonna start over here and work your way that way.
You're talking to me?
Yeah.
Whoever's holding the light. Copy.
Okay, cut. Taking the boxes, okay.
Taking the boxes. We're taking the boxes.
Oh, yeah. Keep going. Okay, camera cuts. Ladder. This ladder is an artifact. It belongs in a museum. It belongs at Knott's Berry Farm.
Good job.
See? What are y'all complaining about?
Thank you.
Our director and DP is crazy. I don't know if you guys just saw what he did, but intense, super intense. What do you think, Sean?
Yeah, would not recommend trying this at all. I would not come here.
I'm having the time of my life.
We took a brand new camera to the dustiest place.
Good job. And so how did the short film go, I guess is the question. Well, it was very dusty, but it was a lot of fun. And as far as the camera's concerned, it's 2024. Everyone knows the pros and cons of the Dragon sensor. Highlight-wise, you know, those strong exteriors, it looked great. It's a great looking sensor. The color fidelity just has a nice subtle richness to it that feels very filmic. I know that some of the later generations of Reds, like the helium sensor, and even the newer ones, like the v-raptor, some people consider it a bit, you know, more of a technically correct image in comparison to like a filmic image. But nowadays with color grading, any camera can look like anything as long as it's shooting the right codec at a decent bit rate. But when we went into the interiors inside the mine, which that's the only way to test the low light of a camera. You go to somewhere where there is no light in an abandoned mine. And it did surprisingly well. I rated the camera at 800 ISO as far as what I was monitoring. At a certain point, I was just using the old red EVF here, which could be better. But I figured if the image I was getting out of the camera was anything like the viewfinder, it would be at least usable. And it was lit only with that flashlight and some aperture MCs. Aside from at the very end, we did use one aperture 60X just as a backlight. I mean, everything in the mine was underexposed, but there was only one shot that I think to cut it in, I had to raise it from 800 ISO. This is all shooting in RAW. I had to go from 800 ISO all the way up to 3200 with the RAW controls in post, and it was grainy. But I also knew that was going to be part of the look. And that's the look that for my personal project I like to go for. I like to try to do different kinds of film emulation. I love adding in grain. I love adding in texture. I love dirt. I love filthy images. And so this camera did very well for that. It was fun. The camera did everything that I already knew it could do. Mainly it was just a test to make sure that it worked and was functional before my 60-day return period was over. And yeah, it did everything I hoped it could, and I also hope that it was just a fun short film, because it was the first time in a while I'd put together something that was purely narrative and my own stream of consciousness weird idea.
Yeah. Cool.
So what did we? It's fucking bright. What did we learn? Have we learned anything yet?
Make sure to bag the cameras after, so that way they don't get dusty.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think we learned that if we're gonna take the monitor off the Red, we got to make sure it's set
Yes.
so that we can still control it after we take the monitor off, because that was kind of annoying.
Get mass.
It was great because it feels like you're holding, at least, you know, not fully rigged out if it was like a studio setup, just feels like you're holding like an Arri SR or, you know, something just with the viewfinder. That was fun to work with. Yeah. Everything else is going to be in post, whatever it looked like.
Say good shoot, lads.
Good shoot.
Good shoot.
Good shoot.
Good shoot. Dilly dilly.
Let's go home.
He's getting our network
Let's
deal
go
right
to
now,
the
so it's very
Barstool Del
important, guys.
Taco.
He's busy.
And so is this a relevant camera in 2024? Well, it's a 6K Super 35 cinema camera shooting red code raw up to 82 frames per second in full format 6K with every variety of sensor crop options you could ever want, that can have viewfinders, monitors, wireless video. It shoots a well-regarded format that is an industry standard. You can shoot a movie on anything, but not every camera is going to make you feel like you're shooting a movie when you're shooting on it. So
Red. It's a 3-letter word. It's less ink.
Less ink.
So I guess to bring it all home, one thing I didn't mention is that the reason this is the cheapest one that I've seen for sale, or that I've seen anyone purchase that's this specific generation of Red camera, is because normally I think these go for around $4,000 to $6,000. That seems to be the ballpark. About $4,000 for the brain, maybe $6,000 to $7,000 with accessories. But man, it's just crazy how inexpensive good cameras are now, especially on the used market, because this is a camera that still outperforms a majority of sub $10,000 cameras on the market. And you might not find one this cheap, but you're still going to find one for cheaper than a Sony FX6 package or a Canon C70 package or a Red Komodo. There's good cameras out there. Don't let them sit in e-waste facilities or landfills. You know, if you want a good camera, you can find one. And, you know, buy something that inspires you. Buy something that isn't just a tool. I mean, it is just a tool. Anything is just a tool. Don't go into debt over a camera. But there's stuff out there to find. There are good cameras, and more people need to use them.